All right, everybody, we're in the 2200 block of Darling, and here's where Wesley Chapel is. And as you can see, the building that they're building on one side of Wesley Chapel, which is called Hatley Street. And as we take a look at it, this is 3rd Ward. And as you can see, there's the condos over there on Hatley, off of Darling, which today is called Emancipation. And as we turn around, and you can see all of this is part of the beautification that they're doing here in 3rd Ward. And then as we move on around, we're showing you the other townhomes that's there across from Wesley Chapel. And as we keep turning, and in case you want to know where we at, we're on the corner of Darling and Webster, and at that red light is Gray and Darling. I'm going to still call it Darling. This is my video, so I can do what I want to do with it. And right over there is where they're building the new high-rise townhomes over there, which is on the other side of Wesley Chapel. And here is Wesley Chapel as we stand right now. This is Wesley Chapel, and we're live right here on the corner of Darling and Webster. And this is Wesley Chapel, which is the 3rd oldest Methodist church in 3rd Ward. And as you can see, all of this is 3rd Ward. But the new identification of it would be University District. And all of this is part of 3rd Ward. As we go walking down here to Webster, and you can see the people working over there. All of those are Hispanic people. They working. All of them. See them brand new trucks? They making money. These Hispanic people ain't working for free. They working because they making money. And they can afford to buy these new trucks. Because us black people, we didn't want these jobs. And now we can't get the jobs. And we're alive right here at Wesley Chapel. And we're on the corner of Darling and Webster, at the home of the new townhomes. See all them nice homes out there? How you doing, my friend? See, making mucho dineros. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Making that money. Yes, sir. Mucho dineros. Y'all have a good day now. Yes, sir. See, they're just as friendly as they want to be, man. Somebody got to do it. Somebody got to do this work. Young black folks, they don't want to do it. They got their pants down. The older black people ain't trying to help them. They keeping them all pacified. Letting the mama let them suck on their titty. Let them stay in the house till they 25, 30 years old. What it is what it is, man. See all them big nice homes over there? This is what they call change happens. And that's who they wrote that check out to. Change. All right, we're live right here on the corner of Gray and Bastrop. And this is St. John Baptist Church, y'all. This is another one of our historical black churches. And as you can see, let's take a look at as we go around St. John on Gray. You know, we had another St. John on Darling we're going to go to. And those are the places and the homes next to St. John on Gray. And this is on the corner of Gray and Bastrop. As we move up towards Gray Street, and we will show you where all these homes and all of this is part of St. John Baptist Church. Their membership is falling down too. And as you can see, the homes are steady going up. And as you can see, this property, now whether or not St. John still own this property, I doubt it, because look at the property, look at the fence. See, they don't have the memberships like they used to have, because all the black people have moved out of Third Ward, and the new generation don't want to come to these little kind of churches no more. We're coming to you live right here on the corner of St. Charles and McGowan, 2400 block of McGowan. And it's a historical place right here, a Trinity East, man. They are keeping up with their history here. Man, this is an amazing church, y'all. And it's still going strong. One of the very few churches in Third Ward that still got its foundation. See, all these churches ain't going down. Some of these churches still keeping their congregation up. They keeping their history up. And they moving forward. And this is one of them. Trinity East. Right here on the corner of St. Charles and McGowan. 2418 McGowan. They got history at this church. And hopefully one day they will share that history with us. But it's Trinity East. They was one of the first black church to move over here in Third Ward. When I say in Third Ward, that means on the other side of Jefferson. Because remember, I told you the first part of Third Ward is over there from downtown, over there where the Dynamo Stadium at. Over there by what we might call it, over there by Tom Cato. But this is Trinity East. And Trinity is the first black church in the city of Houston. But the Trinity that's over on Live Oak and Holman, it was once downtown, and they moved over here. That's why when this church, Trinity East, moved over here and opened its doors, they was called Trinity East because it went east of downtown. That's why they Trinity East. And the other Trinity was downtown. They didn't move over in Third Ward until 1957. But this Trinity East have always been here. And they got an historical history on this church. And hopefully one day I can go in there and they can share that history with us. Because we need to know about our black history. This is the only way the black kids gonna know where they're going. If they don't know where they come from, how in the world will they know where they're going? Come on, y'all. But like I say, I'm doing these videos because it's for the future. And I'm so thankful, man. Welcome to St. John on Dowling, y'all. And we're right here on the corner of Dennis and Dowling on one side, and then on the other side we got Dennis also and Dowling. And right here is St. John Baptist Church, the home of the Solomons that lived across the street from me. I used to go to this church with John Solomon them and Mr. George Solomon. This was the first church that I went to, Baptist Church. And then later on I went to Antioch with my Uncle Harvey. But right here, I never forget, this is one of the historical black churches, y'all. St. John on Dowling. Welcome. And as you can see, it also needs some work did. Their membership have dropped down. Look at it. Look at this here. All this could be upgraded. But they don't have the members like they used to have, because a lot of the older people that had been joining this church and have been raised up in this church have passed away, and the new generation did not want to be part of this historical black church. And before too long, it'll be closing its doors too. We're live right here in the 2700 block of Dowling, right here on the property of Mr. Wolf department store. Thank you. As we go around. And at one time the members used to park over there, but since they didn't buy that property over there, you see they fenced it off. But they can't park over there. So therefore, even if some of the members came back to this church, they have nowhere to park. It is what it is. As we take a look of here. See, this sign is for sale. And you want to know why? Eventually, when they buy this property out, they're going to buy all of that across the street. Because remember, I told you, this is Change Happening. And Change Happening is an organization full of rich people who buying up all this property out here in 3rd Ward. That's the reason why Mr. Cal McNair of the Houston Texan wrote that check out to Change Happens. See, Mr. Cal McNair is not no fool. He knows Change Happening is not finna do away with that $450,000. If they do, they can afford to pay for it back. That's why the check was not made out to Jack Yates. For some of you people who want to know, it is what it is. Change Happenings. They buying up 60% of 3rd Ward, and they redoing it. That's the reason why they call the organization Change Happen, because they are making a change in 3rd Ward. Bottom line. We are live right here in the 2200 block of 2M, and this is the first black church, Baptist church, to move in 3rd Ward, Jerusalem Missionary Baptist Church. And when Reverend Mackey bought this church over here, Reverend Mackey was part of Antioch, along with Reverend Jack Yates, have started this church together right after the Emancipation Proclamation, right after they had already bought this land that we sitting on now, the Emancipation Park. And when they bought this land, slavery was abandoned, and therefore they needed work for people that was now free. Now they got a chance to work for themselves, still working on a plantation. And Reverend Mackey, along with Reverend Jack Yates, came out here to build this church for those people who was out here trying to catch work to get out and make money for their families, because they no longer slaves. And this is Jerusalem Missionary Baptist Church, and I'm so proud of being part of Reverend Castro, along with Judge Green, his sister, and along with Antoinette Branch. Oh man, Reverend Ray Martin, and my big sister Barbara Jean Martin. Man, this is history here, man. I love this church, man. And one thing about Jerusalem and Reverend Castro, him and Reverend Danny Davis is like brothers. And Reverend Danny Davis is at Jordan Grove. And it's so good that Jerusalem Missionary Church every Sunday, this is something that I know because I was part of help with Reverend Castro and the congregation here at Jerusalem. And one thing about here at Jerusalem, every first month on Sunday, they feed breakfast to anybody who want to come through those doors. They got a kitchen over there on the other side of the church. They got a place over there where they store food, and they feed people in this community who are hungry and need food. Reverend Castro and Jerusalem Missionary Baptist Church, they provide this, along with Reverend Danny Davis and Jordan Grove. And I am so blessed to have been part of Reverend Castro. I'm so blessed to know right now it's his brother who I work for at Covenant of Faith Missionary Baptist Church. I'm so grateful to be in the Walker family, and knowing that I once was helping Reverend Castro Walker and this missionary, Jerusalem Missionary Baptist Church, be part of the internet. And I'm so blessed. And as we go and show you where Jerusalem Missionary Baptist Church, all of this is still part of their land, and this is the property that they park on. And in the back, they got a place where they store all the food for all the homeless people that want to come and eat. And every first month on a Sunday, the first Sunday of the month, they feed breakfast. And a lot of people from Jordan Grove come down here and eat breakfast with Jerusalem. That's fellowship, y'all. That's fellowship. Reverend Danny Davis and Reverend Castro Walker. If I didn't know Reverend Castro Walker, and I've been knowing Reverend Castro Walker ever since he was 10 years old and I was 12. And his brother Luther. If I didn't know no better, I would think him and Reverend Danny Davis are brothers. That's how close the relationship here with Jerusalem Missionary Baptist Church and Jordan Grove. We are live right here on the corner of Live Oak and Anita, man. This is a historical church, man. This is Jordan Grove, man. But bring back tears in my eyes, y'all. This is one of the churches that I used to go to. You know, my mother used to work on Sundays at the VA hospital, so she didn't have time to really take me out to church until she retired. And then that's when she joined St. Emmanuel with Reverend Scott. But before then, as a little boy, this is where I used to come with Mr. Neal and Marvin Neal, and the Neal family is here at Jordan Grove, man. You know, when our first church I went to was with Mr. Solomon and St. John on Dowling. The second church I went to was Antioch with my Uncle Harvey and my Aunt Pearlie out there in Fort Ward. And the third church I went to and stayed the most and enjoyed the most of it, of the church, was right here in Jordan Grove. Bring back so good memories, man. With Reverend Banks, and now with Reverend Danny Davis, man. It's so much history at this church here, man. You know, when I look back and I think about all the time me and Marvin Neal, B.B. Maxwell, Zolly Scales, we all used to come here and we used to all split our little money up and go right down the street there and buy some moon cookies or some of the candy that we were supposed to be putting in church and Sunday school. It's so many good memories. And then coming right back around to be able to donate all of that bread. And when I was working for Miss Beard's Bread Company before I retired, I used to come here and Miss Beard's then would give me a truckload of bread and say, Robert, go out there and get rid of this bread. I don't want to see this bread no more in the warehouse. And this is mostly sometimes fresh bread. And I would come out here to Jordan Grove and unload my truck right there. See right there, I unload that truck. And right over there is the warehouse for Jordan Grove. They feed all these people in this neighborhood just like Jerusalem. Man, they give back in this neighborhood. I know without a fact they give back in this neighborhood. Because I used to put I would fill that bread up. That bread truck would be full. My bread truck is just as big as that FedEx truck, and it'd be full of bread. And I go right up under that shed and unload that bread right there in their warehouse right there. Not only bread, cakes, cinnamon roll, cupcakes, honey buns, you name it. I would bring it here, and Jordan Grove would get rid of it. And sometime when I was running late, and the help who managed that little warehouse there, I call it a warehouse because that's where Jordan Grove was keeping all of their items when they give out to the homeless people here. And sometime I'll be late and they went home, and guess who helped me unload the truck? Reverend Danny Davis. That's right. Reverend Danny Davis, the preacher. He helps me unload that truck. And just to know all the history, and his Miss Maxine Williams, which was 103 years old, 70-something years worth of membership here. Mr. Robert Jones, 60-something years worth of membership here. Man, this church is strong. And that don't even include Reverend Danny Davis. I've been watching this man since he was a quarterback, one of the first black quarterbacks at the University of Houston. His family is in the ministry business. He got a brother up in Dallas that's a minister. Man, this is history, y'all. And all of this is Jordan Grove. Even this parking lot over there is Jordan Grove. See, they put their money back into this church. And it all boiled down to leadership. And everybody thought that when Reverend Banks left this church was no longer going to be existing. But thanks to people like Mr. U.S. Neal and Mr. Zolly Scales and some of the other members, kept this church floating. And then once they got Danny Davis in that pulpit, hey man, the rest of that is history. And I'm just proud, man, to know. I think about Mr. Neal. I think about some of the people that I used to go to church with in this same building with Reverend Banks was the minister here. Mr. Herman Traylor, Frances Woodard, and her family. Hey man, it's a lot of good members here.